So welcome. My name is Leah McGrath-Goodman, and I'm with the festival committee. We have a couple minor housekeeping items before we start. We want to give some credit to our sponsors, the Brattleboro Retreat, the Brattleboro Community Television, Jenny Altschuler and Barry Green, Elizabeth Catlin, the Stepanski Family Trust, the Vermont Humanities Council, and Poets and Writers. We would also like to thank Brattleboro Savings and Loan for hosting this particular event today.
Hell yeah, give it up.
Local bank. It's been around since 1912. It's older than the state of Arizona. Really. The festival is run entirely by volunteers. We have very real expenses. We bring everybody in here, sometimes their families. They're staying at all of our wonderful local hotels, transportation, everything. If you enjoy these events, please leave a little something in the donations box at the front. We also have a QR code on our website that you can scan and give as much as you possibly can. Thank you. Please turn off your phones or silence your ringers if you can, so we can not tick off Harry any further today. Finally, if you would like to take photos, please do with your ringers down, and we would love for you to post it on our social media pages. We're on Twitter, X, and we are also on Instagram. The first one's at VT Book Fest. The second one is at Brattleboro Literary Festival. Finally, I'm very happy to introduce, if he's ready, Harry Bliss.
I feel a little better, thank you. I feel a little better. Coming down a little bit. Thanks. It's nice. You're very nice.
New York Times bestselling cartoonist. A little bit about Harry. He grew up in New York State amidst a family of artists. There are no less than 10 working visual artists in his immediate and extended family. I don't know if that number is still current. Is it growing?
It's growing. You're right. Yes, it is.
All right. Wow. He studied painting at the Pennsylvania Academy of the Fine Arts, illustration at the Philadelphia University of the Arts, where he got his BA, and he earned a Master of Arts degree at Syracuse University in a time in the 90s, which I will not date him because he looks quite young, so we'll leave it that way. Since 1999, Bliss has published more than 25 books for children and thousands of cartoons, and has published at least 25 covers for the New Yorker magazine. And when it says at least, I'm assuming it might be a lot more than that.
It's
I know. All right.
26, man.
26. His first children's book, A Fine, Fine School by Sharon Creech, was a New York Times bestseller, as was Diary of a Worm, Diary of a Spider, and Diary of a Fly, all by Doreen Cronin. These award-winning diary books became The Bug Diaries and are now streaming in animated form on Amazon. His self-titled single-panel gag cartoon, Bliss, is syndicated internationally through Tribune Media Services and appears in over 100 newspapers in the United States. We don't really have 1,000 newspapers anymore.
So sad.
Fortunately. Also Japan and Canada, in case you want to check the newspapers there. In 2004, Bliss was awarded the Maurice Sendak Fellowship Award. He has co-written 2 books and a collection of cartoons and comic strips with actor and entertainer Steve Martin.
Stevie!
And one of them, A Wealth of Pigeons, was a #1 New York Times bestseller.
Cha-ching!
I like the sound effects. You can keep doing that. His new book, You Can Never Die, is a tribute to his beloved dog Penny, a miniature poodle who was the inspiration for hundreds of his cartoons. When Penny passed away in 2021, Bliss was overcome with grief and turned to journaling and drawing. In the process, he created a graphic novel featuring reflections on his life and pet. And there's also a story about Salman Rushdie dancing with supermodels at a New Yorker party. So there's a lot in this book, which he'll be sharing with us today. A warm welcome, please, to Harry Bliss.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Wow. I'm just going through this. Thank you for that. I'm sorry if I'm being snotty and not being. Again, it's because it is. It's like you get in a mood, and it takes a while for that to wash away. At least it does for me. So I'm sorry if I come off as being what's the word? Not snubby, but what's the word when someone is full of themselves? They're
Crotchety? Arrogant?
I'll take that. Arrogant. Well, I'm only kind of arrogant about my work. It's kind of the only thing, and maybe cooking food. But I'm certainly opinionated. I think to a fault. It doesn't always serve me well. You know, I was going to wear nice clothes. I was going to like wear nice slacks and can I get a bowl? Can I get like to put water for him? Yeah, I was going to dress kind of nice, and I was walking out the door, and I was thinking, what? I mean, it's Vermont. Just wear Vermont clothes, man. I have to be real. I want to be real with you, so this is a real outfit, you know, a t-shirt. Look at this. Come on, seriously. Give it up. This kid's, he's nuts. But, being real. So I thought this is what I wear every day. You know, wake up. I'll actually be really real with you today. And there are days, we have a drought going on in New Hampshire, where I live half the time. So you have to, if you have a well system, if you're living off a well, you have to watch out because you run out of water. So I haven't showered in 2 weeks. So I'm ripe. But yeah, being real. And that's one of the things about we're trying to get pictures, by the way. This talk was supposed to kind of be, it was going to be the thread. So now I don't have the pictures. We may not have pictures, but I brought my journal, and I can hold that up and talk about that stuff. But in writing the memoir, it's not a graphic novel, and I'm not a fan of that nomenclature, anyway, because they're comics. You can say this is a graphic novel, but if anything is told sequentially in panels, in like you would say traditional comics. Oh, thank you so much. I'll do Junior's voice. Thanks a lot. Thank you, Miss Lady. But you can go ahead, drink it. Drink it. Good boy, drink. Yeah, it's comics. It's just straight up comics. Art Spiegelman said that to me. He has the same kind of feeling about it. It's straight up comics. But my book is a graphic memoir, and I did start out writing about our dog Penny, who passed away after 17 years. And what happened for me then was this unloading of sorts of all the emotions around grief and loss that I had never really experienced before. And the family I grew up in was really fairly dysfunctional. No, it was dysfunctional. So my childhood, and most of my 20s and 30s even, was spent just deflecting emotion and defense mechanisms high. So growing up, we just had laughter and real anger, just two things. There was nothing really in between. Parents never said, "How are you feeling?" or "You look sad today. Do you want to talk to me?" It didn't happen. It wasn't in our kind of family wheelhouse. So when Penny died, all those middle ground emotions, all those nuanced, subtle feelings that are so important to being a human being and not a sociopath, they opened up for me. And I was able to just dive deep into a lot of things about my life.
Could you move about 6 inches to the right? There's a clock on the screen, and you're printing numbers right in the middle.
So, I see what you're saying right there. Oh, does this get tighter?
You could also walk with that.
Damn you. I got it. So, is that better? Here, hold on. Junior, help. Yeah, let's do this.
perfect.
Okay. So all those emotions, is it anything funny now? You'll tell me, right? Because I could have gone the whole thing, and he's the only one who would have said anybody. Everybody like, hey, it looks like he's about to get shot in the head. Wonderful. Now it's all going to be on camera, so. But in some ways, it's like I'm so glad that Junior, come here, sit. I'm so glad that I had the opportunity to go deep, with all those emotions, because it makes you a better person, makes you a more, just makes you kinder and more empathetic, and all the things that you want to be as a person. And the interesting thing is, up to that point in my life, I had pretty much my head down, and I spent the first 40 years of my life just drawing and painting, and working really hard on my work. I did other things, but. Now, I have to say that at the time when I experienced this grief, when Penny passed, and I wailed when she died, like I've never wailed, like a traditional wailing. It hurts now. But I also, at the same time, I'd experienced with psychedelics. So, my experience with LSD it coincided with the losing of the loss of Penny. So I had this huge, just unveiling of myself, and that ultimately is what the memoir is all about. I tell people, it's 100% me. It's irreverent. It's obnoxious. It's funny. I think it's moving. I have a lot of shame in there that I've exposed. But it was really important to do. And I looked through it. I'd never have copy edited a book before, which if you're a writer, you do that. You go through and you have to copy edit your manuscript 3 or 4 times. And every time I had to read it, I would laugh out loud and cry. I would really, and I would put it down and say, this is okay. This is how you wanted to come out. And I told my editor that too. I said to my editor and my agent, and I thanked them like a couple months ago. I was looking back and I said, I just want to thank you both, Deb and Esther, for letting me do this, because it's exactly the book that I wanted to do. I look through it now, and the only thing that I have just tiny regret around for the book is that I put my address on the opening. But someone asked me about that, because the end pages are from my journals. We thought they would make nice end pages, and I did that with the 2 books with Steve too. But I thought it was funny that I had my address in there. And it's not hard to find my address in this day and age. And I live in J.D. Salinger's former house. So it's pretty, it's not hard to find it. But, yeah, and anyway, I thought, since I don't have pictures up there, days ago, I went to New York City. I had to go and I had a meeting with my editor and Steve Martin and my editor's assistant, Margot. And we all sat down in Steve's house and in his apartment in New York City. And we all went through the book that we're working on now, which won't be out for a couple years, but it's another cartoon collection. Later that night, I went back to Steve's, his wife went out, and we had dinner together. And it was just great. People want to know, what's Steve Martin like? He's great. He's really just a super nice guy. He played 3 songs off his new disc with Alison. No, not Alison Krauss. It was, she's a banjo player, really great banjo player. I think her first name's Alison. Yeah, thank you. There you go. They have the new CD out, and it's great. I was listening to it, and we were drinking and stuff. And at a certain point, I could tell we were both, and this usually happens it's not like I hang out with him all the time, but when I do go to New York and I hang out with him, we drink. We'll have wine together, and we get this little buzz, like a little buzz plateau. And we both are like feeling good. And he's telling me jokes. He's talking about Mel Brooks and just life things and little anecdotes. I won't share some of them with you because he might not like that, but you should know that he's really funny and nice. His wife is gone and his daughter was there, and his daughter's name was Josie. She's the best. But he was telling me cartoon ideas, and I was writing them down, and he's really quick. Let me see if I can find one. We're trying to come up with a title for the book. There's one. This isn't necessarily... Let me see if this one's here. This is a cartoon idea. There's a guy... This is my journal, by the way, so they all look like this. It's all script writing. I'm using a nice fountain pen. So there's a guy in this little panel at the bottom, and he's in his basement of his house, and his friend, another guy, is coming down the stairs, and there's a bar there in his basement. And he says to his friend who's coming down the stairs, "I considered a ping pong table for the kids, then I remembered I drink." That's just so silly. And this one, I mean, here's just this. A lot of times I'll draw things in here that will not get published. A lot of those are in the memoir. This guy's just falling down a ladder. He's cleaning the gutter, and as he's falling backward, he's looking at the gutter angrily and says to the gutter as he's flipping it off, "Fuck you, gutter." Oh, yeah. This guy's just I do a lot of trees because I love trees and I love dogs. Where'd my dog go? God damn it. This guy's sitting down with his daughter up here. And he just says to the little girl, very contemplative as they're sitting together, "You're not videotaping this journal, are you? Don't do that, because there's stuff in here that, I'm just telling you. Oh, yeah, you'll have to edit it out later." So the guy is, he says to his daughter, "That bark reminds me of Nana's manipulating guile." And there's another one at the lower left here where they're crossing this bridge, the three people, and the one guy has fallen off the bridge to his death, and in front of him is his phone, and he screams out, "Oh, fuck, my phone!" It's so true. Like, it's ridiculous.
Got some pictures.
Okay, great. Thank you. Here's the cover. We turn the lights down, maybe? Do we need the lights down? This chair glued down here. Can we turn these lights off, these guys? That's the cover, and that's Penny. Go to the next one. Yeah, thank you.
You don't have these as a PowerPoint, just images, right?
Are they in photo? Just press the arrow at the bottom. Will that go to the next one? Oh, if you go to... Here, I can do this. Good stretch. Here, let me...
Actually, there's a lot of...
So that's... He's a good boy. That's Penny. How many of you have read the book yet? Oh, that's not enough. You got to read it. A lot of people said that they were afraid to read it because they had pets and they were afraid it was going to make them cry. And it's true. Part of it will make you cry. If you have a pet and you lost a pet, it'll make you cry. But there's a lot of humor in the book as well. But this is Penny. This is the dog we had. My wife, Sophie, saved the dog when she was not even a year old. She had a rare blood disease, and Sophie spent thousands of dollars, blood transfusions. And the doctor said, Penny's going to die. And she wasn't even 9 months old, this dog. And Sophie tried it's in the book, but happy ending. The doctor was going to suggested putting her down, and Sophie said, "Let's try one more thing." And they tried this a steroid that took, and she bounced back. She was on steroids for 2 more years, which was kind of hilarious because she's a little poodle and she beat the hell out of a mouse. You know, she was so aggressive. Like when dinner time came, she would bark at us. Like she was just, it's true what steroids do. They make you kind of, but she lived for 17 years after that. So we'll go to the next one and see a page from, there's a page from my journal. And up here it says, regular penny, popcorn penny, trip to the groomer, Tony Soprano penny, The Thing penny, if you've seen John Carpenter's The Thing, Mickey Mouse penny, Rabid penny, and Beautiful penny with her head resting on Eeyore. And these are all pages from my journal. And go to the next one. What is this? Oh, the cartoon. Can we turn these lights off? Oh, sorry. Just they can see them better if the lights are off. So, cat and mouse on the moon. And the mouse says to the cat, looking at these huge craters, something very big buried a lot of bones here. That's, and then we'll go to the other one. So this is from the book. This is a short, some of the essays are very short. You got all the other lights, but yeah. But it's, so some of the essays are very short. There's just a page or 2, and some are longer, 4 pages. But where's the dog? Okay, thanks. So I'll just read this. Good old days. When I stop and think about my good old days, I was always alone. In elementary school, on the way home in my snowsuit, I'd stop by the side of the road after a big storm and start digging tunnels in the snow with my mittens, humming songs to myself as I worked. I imagined that after I left, tiny families would come and shelter in the tunnels, protected from the cold. But it is true, when I was a little boy, it was my favorite. All my memories of just sheer happiness and joy was when I was by myself. So I kind of curating the book was very difficult, and it was hard to. Those lights are still on. Yeah. Hey, look at that. Right on. It's okay, Junior. So this is from my journal, but the guy is talking to his son who's on a cell phone, and it's a very rough little drawing. But the dad says, "In my day, we didn't post pictures on Facebook. We gathered together in a smoke-filled room and watched a slideshow and fake laughed and drank until depression eased into our brains. When it was all over, we staggered into our huge cars and drove home drunk, smoking more and arguing with our spouses, saying the most hurtful things we could think of." What happened?
I have no idea.
Did the battery just die?
The one thing is that you have a power cut.
Oh, okay. What does it say? How much battery is left up top there? We're good. We got 89%. All right, lower that cursor. There you go. And then we can go to the next one. Rachel. No, hands, Rachel. Clap your hands. Why on earth would I say, if you're happy and you know it, slap Sam? This is a kind of cartoon that artificial intelligence, they're not going to come up with that. It's too crazy. All right, we'll go to the next one. Good yawn. So this is a woman saying, "If you don't mind, just for today's session, can you pretend to be Terry Gross?" So in the middle of the book is a what's called a Fresh Air with Terry Gross unaired excerpt. And it's all interview with Terry Gross. But when I was writing the book, this particular piece of the book talks about my girlfriend in 1986. We gave our baby up for adoption. We couldn't afford it. We were on welfare, living in Philadelphia. So this kind of addresses that. Now, when I started to write about that experience and going through that, I couldn't do it. I just couldn't. I couldn't figure out how to do it. It didn't sound right. It didn't feel pure and real for me. And like we'll do when I finish yapping here, you'll ask me questions if you'd like, and I'll answer those. But I like answering people's questions. It helps me discover routes and places that I wouldn't normally take. So I figured this mechanism, this kind of interview thing, would help me get some unearthing of that experience in my life in 1986. So we'll go to the next one, please. This is my very first New Yorker cover I did in the end of 1997. It was a New Year's cover. And I talk about working for the New Yorker back then. And it's true. I went to a gig, the New Yorker holiday party, where Tino Brown was the editor back then in 98. And we went to this place in New York called Balthazar, which was a very upscale, popular place, bar and restaurant. And yeah, I was surrounded by it. There was famous people there. When you go to New Yorker parties, there's famous people. What's his name? Matt Dillon was at one. Jon Favreau, Salman Rushdie was there, Dancing with Supermodels. Robin Williams. I'm trying to think who else that I saw at these. Oh, David Byrne was standing right behind me, and I was talking to someone. And in the other car, it was David Cypress. And David was looking at me, and he said, "David Byrne's right behind you." And if you went to art school, or maybe if you know David Byrne, the Talking Heads, it's so hard for me not to turn around and say something. But I don't, because you learn the hard way. Don't bug the celebrities. Leave them alone. It was over the top, the budgets and everything back then was over the top. It's weird when you think back in 1997. It wasn't that long ago, but I think we behaved pretty badly at those parties. It was. I don't want to talk about it. Let's go to the next one because I get myself in trouble. From my journal, this from Instagram, it's Mitch McConnell. We'll get the stimulus deal passed just as soon as my face stops dripping. So, and then there's a note, Tuesday, 9 a.m., note to self, do not take LSD and look at photographs of Mitch McConnell's face. Don't do it. Let's go to the next one, I guess. So I feel bad because I saw that he just recently tripped. And I'll tell you one thing you may not like Mitch McConnell, but that guy is freaking smart. No one can say he's not smart. That guy's very smart. I met William Steig, my agent. This is a little drawing and it says, Mrs. Mouse rolls a perfect joint by Beatrix Potter. Also starring High as Fuck Rabbit. So you get a sense of how irreverent and just obnoxious some of my drawings are. This is me. This is like, if you went through my journal, this is what you'd see. I'll go to the next one. I had the chance to meet Andrew Wyeth, and I spent one of the most amazing afternoons with Andy and his wife, Betsy. And that's in the book as well. The book was like 500 pages, and we had to edit out 100 pages. There was a story of Tony Soprano. I met Tony Soprano. I met James Gandolfini with my wife backstage at a Police concert. And that was, people behaving bad. It was interesting, though. We were behaving badly backstage after the concert. And I forget the guy, the bass player from Pearl Jam. But the thing that my wife and I talked about with James Gandolfini was raising children. It's such I love that incongruity of us, parents. Like, we were doing drugs. But we were talking about what it's like to raise kids. How do you talk to kids? Do you keep the phones away from them? Do you keep them off the internet? What do you do and what do you do? And I just thought that was interesting. It's not in the book, though. This experience was very surreal. My family grew up loving Andrew Wyeth, loving all the Wyeths, NC, Andy, not Jamie, not so much, but especially NC. So meeting him was great. Let's go to the next one, though. There aren't too many. Goofy's World. Inspired. Go to the next one, please. What's this? Oh, that's, during the course of my time with Andy and Betsy, I wanted to take a picture of those guys, which I did. And then I think it was Andy's idea. He's like, I have an idea. Why don't you take a picture of Betsy? Betsy, get your cane. And I'll get on the floor. He was like 90 at this, or 89. He said, I'll get on the floor, and Betsy, you get above me and with your cane, and you'll act like you're going to kill me. And that'll be really funny. It's like, but I think that's like that happened. That literally happened. It's just unbelievable. And I'll tell you something else. This is in the essay on Wyeth in the book, but at one point, I was there for like an hour and 40 minutes. Betsy had left at one point, and Andy and I were talking about art and artists. He talked about Hopper. It was just amazing. And then at one point, he looks at me and he goes, do you want to meet Helga? And I'm like, what do you mean? He said, she's in the studio up there. And I hesitated because it just knocked me out. Because if you know Wyeth's paintings, you know Helga, this is main huge model. And some of my favorite of his paintings are the Helga paintings. But I think in my hesitation, he noticed that there was some timidity or something, maybe nervousness or something. And he looked at me and he said, maybe next time you come back, she can be a little tough around the edges when you first meet her. And I was just like, okay. I should have gone with him. He died not long after that. So we'll go to the next one, please. The show must, this is one of my favorite essays in the book. It's about driving 2 hours to Manchester, Vermont at a Barnes and Noble or somewhere in southern Vermont. It was as long as 2.5 hours at night. I got there at 7 o'clock. I got to do my little dog and pony show, talk about children's books, draw. It's about a 45-minute presentation. I get there at 7:15 rolls around. I got my little slide carousel, which weighs 50 pounds, set it up, and there's one little girl there. And I gave one of my best presentations for that little girl. I had her do a little drawing, and I turned it into like something silly, a dog. That was great. Okay, we'll go to the next one. I had a chance to meet and hang out with Maurice Sendak, who was hilarious. And we traded artwork. I had done a New Yorker cover called Lateral Pass, these football players in a huddle, and they're all armed. One guy has his hand on the other guy's ass. And so Maurice liked that artwork. He wanted that. So we traded. He did this. He asked me, and I said, my favorite work of yours is Chicken Soup with Rice. I love that book so much. It meant so much to me as a little boy. So do you have anything, sketches from that? And he knew at the time I was playing hockey, and I love hockey. I'm just obsessed with it. So he redrew that from the book and gave him a hockey stick and put little skates on. So it's one of my cherished pieces that he did. Okay, we'll go to the next one, please. I live in Cornish, I mentioned. I moved to Cornish in 2016. I don't feel like reading this. Anyway, I love Cornish. I mean, I love Vermont, but Cornish is particularly unique. There's a spirit, there's an energy that is, it suits me, and it's like heaven to me. If you have a place like that that is just, wow, it's magical every day, every single day. It kills me that I get to wake up and experience something like that. There's another group that I talked to at a book event, and it was like, I mentioned this because I don't want to forget it, but someone said, the interviewer guy was interviewing me, Rich Gannon, NHPR, he's the best. He said, is there a question that you wish somebody would ask you? And I said, yeah. I said, I wish somebody would come up to me and say, isn't everything amazing? And I'd be like, yes. Oh my God. Everything is amazing. The wood, metal, just anything you could think of, trees, the colors of, but everything, when you stop and think about just everything in the world, as crappy as it may be, it's just amazing that it's working. an automobile, a sprocket, a wrench. I don't know, but I do think I'm amazed that so many people take so much of what we have for granted. It blows my mind. We are so lucky. Anyway, we'll go to the next one. Trees. It's a ghost tree, Dingleton Hill Road in Cornish. That's from my journal. This is Blow Me Down Bridge in Cornish. It's a 1-lane covered bridge I sketched as I was drawing the fucking thing. A guy who owns the land next to it came out, moved my bike off his land, and made it clear he wasn't a fan of tourists gawking on or near his land. A woman was with him, and I told him I was sorry. He didn't respond. Then I told him I lived up the street. He left back into his house. I finished my sketch, and as I was leaving, he came back out and explained/apologized. We shook hands, and I was on my way. Kyle is his name, good old boy. I later learned his name, and I think his wife made him go out and apologize to me. But from then on, I see him around town. And okay, we'll go to the next one. More of the same. These are from my, just painted from going out in the woods and doing stuff. So go to the next one, please. More trees. This is all from the book. The book is it's a mashup of art, cartoons, and essays. That's my backyard. That's Mount Ascutney. Go to the next one, please. View of Dodge Road, heading to Lang. Setting sun, the most lovely time of day to meditate on the beauty Cornish has to offer. Takes my breath away. And go to the next one. Steve Martin, an essay about Steve, and talked about him. Go to the next one. It was really hard because we lost Penny after 17 years, and my wife was caring for her mom, and then I was debating. I was alone a lot of the time, and I was debating whether to get another dog, and I did. I got Junior, and you know, I love him more than I ever thought I would. So I'll go to the next one. This is a comic strip I did for a magazine called Mountain Gazette. And I like this strip. It's about Junior. There's Vermont, Connecticut River. And it's fun. I can look back. He still humps a towel. I don't know if you have a dog who humps a towel. He does. And I like it. I tell him to get a room. Get a room, you two. This is very spot on. I'm like, when he was a puppy, he still sleeps in a crate, and he's just the best. All right, we'll go to the next one. Oh, this is hard. I forgot this stuff. Damn it. In the course of writing the book, in the course of purging and coming out and opening up about my grief, both of my parents died. So that happened. My dad was 93, and he wanted to go. He really wanted to go. He's a Korean War guy, graphic artist. The best dad, but he did the best he could, and so did my mom in some ways. But when your parents die, I was angry with them for many years, unhappy with my childhood, and felt like I'd been gypped. I didn't get the upbringing I really wanted and deserved. I don't know if I deserved it, but I felt, I didn't have a lot of love for them. But when they died, I missed them. And yeah. Okay, let's go to the next one. And yet, another work with a man and his dog in nature. I've lost track of how many images I've created over the years. Hundreds. Why? I no longer fret over the reasons why, or if readers grow tired of this bliss trope. It is in my DNA by now. Still, I am curious. Is this all because of Penny? I'm inclined to believe this, and now that she's gone off somewhere, the need to render her grows more Potent, I'm sorry. Good old Penny. Thank you. Purulent? What? And, okay, go to the next one. Capturing nature, why? I don't want to get into, because I could talk for a while about this, but as an artist, there came a point in my life where I was like, why do I feel the need to, when I see something beautiful, like, why do we take a picture of it? It's so beautiful, or you want to paint it, you want to draw it, you want to capture it, and it's because we want to hold on to it. We don't, maybe somebody want to post it on Instagram. I don't know what they want to do, but I want to do it because I don't want to forget it. And if you draw something, if you draw a tree from life, if you draw enough of them, they do become part of who you are. I can draw a tree from my imagination. I can draw a dog from so it becomes this, it's part of your DNA at a certain point. And I think but then at a certain point in your life, as an artist, at least for me, I started to see it as superfluous. Like, why do I feel the need to capture it? Just be with it. Just look at it and let it absorb you and just take a deep breath and just walk away. You don't have to, I don't want to talk about phones, but as an artist, I thought if I sit down and render something, then I'm removing myself from the kind of atmospheric experience of it all. I don't know if that makes sense, but I no longer have that urge. Which is kind of a relief, because you're like, I don't have to draw anymore. But that made me realize that's probably why my father stopped making art. And up to that point, I didn't get it. I was like, why don't you draw anymore? And just like, there comes a point, I think, when, as an artist, you're like, I'm done. I'm done with that now. And I think it's a relief. So I'm officially retiring as of today. Let's go to the next one. That's my mom, and it was writing the journal was hard to go through, and me. It was hard to go through these pictures and see my mom, because she was so pretty and she was great. And up till this point, she really loved me. We were very, very close. She took me everywhere, but things fell apart in many ways after when I got a little bit older. I was the baby, so I was a mistake. I mean, my dad literally said to me, Harry, if we had the option of birth control, you wouldn't be here. And I was like, I laughed when he said it. I'm like this. I thought, okay. But that's, okay, we'll go to the next one. I love this one. It's very autobiographical. In the book, this is an essay basically saying that I'm a functioning alcoholic, which is true. But I love this cartoon. I love just anthropomorphizing things by putting Mickey Mouse hands and gloves on these things. Oh, we'll go to the next one. I don't care about the drugs or the alcohol. Just tell me who gave you this Ayn Rand books. I like that little kid. JJ, good boy. All right, I'm almost done. How much time do we have? Tell me if I'm...
You've been going about just about 45 minutes.
All right, do you want to do some questions? And then you guys can get out of here?
Yes.
Yeah, good. Thank you. I like honesty. Let me tell you one other thing before we get to the questions. I was at... my neighbor Colleen, who I love in Cornish, is, she's J.D. Salinger's widow, and she's a friend, and she's a great neighbor. And I was having dinner there one night, and she was with another guy who was there, our friend. And I can tell I was kind of overstaying my welcome a little bit. And but Colleen does this thing where when it gets time for you to go, she'll just say, okay, it's time for you to go. She said my name there. She goes, okay, Harry, it's time for you to go. And I looked at Colleen and I said, thank you. Thank you for being honest like that. Because sometimes people need that. They need to, so I'll shut up and take questions with that. Okay. We can turn the lights up now. Do you want to skip, do you want to rush on, you want to rush ahead real quick? Because I think there's the New Yorker? I know, I miss her too. That's totally sad. We'll go to the next one. I won't read that, but that's really funny. That's in the book. You'll laugh. Sitting here with you is so perfect, which reminds me you can never die. That's the title of the book. So there's the cartoon. Sleeping Beauty, Penny from the journal. More Penny, my bitch. Talking to dogs. More Penny. There's a rough sketch to this week's New Yorker cover. So you get no, I've never shown this to anybody. You go to the next one. This was an alternate idea. I thought about having a real leaf, and then the next one is. Oh, okay. Well, the next one's out on the magazine racks.
Okay, yeah, so it's, we're doing okay on time because the writers' project isn't until 5, but the Ocean Vong is at 4:30, so just letting people know about that too. All right, so want to do some questions?
Anybody have questions? Yes.
Last year, David Cypress was here.
Oh yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, and he said it took him over 10 years to get his first cartoon published in the New Yorker.
Yes. Yeah. That's true.
That's grit in capital letters.
It is. Yeah.
And how was your process in getting into the New Yorker?
Well, I was lucky in some ways because I got a cover published first. So I was my first gig for the New Yorker was doing a cover, that New Year's cover.
Yeah.
And then it took me about a year and a half or a year later. But I did another cover. I did, 5 covers in the course of a year and a half for them. Then I started doing covers for Bob Mankoff. They're different editors. So there's Francois Mouly, who's a cover editor. Bob Mankoff at the time was the cartoon editor. So I would send things to those different people. And I talk about that in the memoir. So memoir. Yes.
This is not as much a question, but as a kindergarten teacher for decades, I just want you to know that even though this memoir has been encouraging, that's the way you've described it for you,
Yeah.
there's something about those children's books that spoke to the children, it speaks to the children in a way they don't speak to adults. So something was going on.
Yeah, thank you for that, because I do feel like, and when I used to travel all over the world talking to elementary school kids, I was in Singapore and I was in Russia, in Moscow and St. Petersburg. But the one thing I noticed is that there's some kid inside me still, and I think they see that. I think kids relate to that, little kids. Yeah, thanks for that. It's good to know. Anyone else got a question? Yes, sir.
What's your relationship to technology? It's all hand and paper.
Well, first of all, I think technology is amazing, as I said, and my smartphone is amazing. I'm on Instagram. I scroll through and laugh, so I think it's amazing. But in terms of my work, it's all hand done with a pencil and pen, and not because it's just easier. I've tried a stylus. Doesn't really work for me, dropping color, and it's just, I like the sensual quality of the paper and seeing the ink come out of the pen and hit the paper. It's great. Yeah, I don't think I could replace that. But God, having a cell phone and taking pictures of your sketches and then emailing them to your editor, oh my God. I used to have to FedEx them. I had to go to an art supply store and make copies, put them in an envelope, pay $18 to overnight it, and it wouldn't get there till the afternoon. And then they'd get it and they say, yeah, that's not quite right. What if you did this? And I have to do the whole thing over again? That sucked. That was horrible. God bless technology in that way. Oh, it's amazing. I could talk about it all day. Anybody else?
I saw someone, when you raised your hand, someone back there. Yeah. Okay.
I was wondering, your whole everything is amazing.
Yes.
I love that. Did
Yeah.
that happen after you took LSD as a result of it, or did you always have that outlook?
Yeah, well, it certainly coincided with LSD. I'll tell you that my experience, but I come from a family of artists, so we're really visual people. And the one thing about my father that I really love is that when he would point out things to us when we were kids, stop his car on the side of the road and say, look at that sunset. If we were watching an old black and white movie, he would say, this is Billy Wilder movie. This film noir stuff. Look at that composition, the way that reflected light. And they put a shadow off in the distance to light up that building so we could get a sense of the foreshadowing or the foreground and background. So I knew we had that sort of that understanding and that curiosity about everything all along. But I'll tell you, and I've written about this, I haven't really talked about it, but he's totally bored, is that when I took LSD I'll go back and take it again in certain doses, but everything is perfect. There's a sense of that everything is just perfect. And if you've taken LSD, if you had that, you know that feel, you can feel it in your, I would sit and I'd walk around. I'd listen to music and I'm able to isolate the bass line, like it's some obscure, like Neil Young tune. I'm like, oh my God, I can hear that so perfectly. I've seen things, you see the floor breathing. So yeah, when those things happen to you, you're experiencing, they're happening. You know, people say, oh, you're on drugs. Yeah, it happened. There's no way that is not influencing this concept that everything is incredible. And I'm so grateful for that, to have that way of thinking. It's the best. And it's true. I think it's actually true. You're like, yeah, time to go.
No, I'm with you. I remember getting super high one time, and every note of Steely Dan's Meg was all there. Yeah, it's easy to do straight anyway.
Yeah.
But your book's for sale as well. We can do a few more questions, but I just wanted to remind you that the bookshop's got his book for sale, and
Yeah.
you can sign it.
I'll sign it,
Just
yeah.
wanted to throw that
You
out
want
there.
more?
Yeah.
Yeah, I just wondered if you would talk about the transition between dogs. The transition between dogs, I thought about it a lot as I was reading your book, and sometimes I feel really bad to talk about Bowie in front of Betty.
Oh,
Do you ever have that experience?
Yeah, well, I think there's an essay in the book it's called Voices, where my wife gives Junior a voice, and she stopped herself because she said she wouldn't give a voice to another dog. So yeah, it's tricky, but as time passes, it gets a little bit easier and less heart-wrenching.
It's amazing on some level.
It is.
Fall in love again.
Oh my God, yeah. Yeah, I talk to people about this who have dogs, the loss of a dog, and how profound that is. And it is deeply profound. And it's going to be, unless I die first, which could happen. I hope it doesn't, but it's going to be horrible. I'll be inconsolable. It'll take me weeks. You never get over it. It's just a piece of your heart. And then you decide, I've talked to people who say, I'm not getting another dog. I can't go through it again. And anyway, I will go through it again, because the pain and the suffering and the hurt, it's just, it's kind of like, it just makes you stronger. Your heart, it's part of your heart, it becomes embedded in your heart. And in the end, it has to be good in some way. It has to be beneficial at the end of the day. But it is hard. So it's a tough way to end it on the word hard. That's sad. That's sad.
Considering how we started, I think we're on a nice, the energy feels good.
Yeah, that's cool. Well, by the way, thank you for coming out. I'm sorry I was late, and I'm sorry I was in a bitchy mood when I came in here. I am truly sorry for that. Thank you.